Because of student court, there are a few interesting situations that occur sometimes. These situations are not endorsed by PCC. They're my story. In one of those unusual situations, I got a phone call from Mr. Quantz on my cell phone, and he told me, "Hey, you're free this hour. Can you come to my office?" So I was called into Student Life office. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, Student Life should be more called something like Student Death sometimes. So I get into the office and I sit down in front of him and I'm kind of scared and shit. I don't know what's going wrong. He tells me, I've been having reports of, let's see here, you laundering women's underwear. Yeah, so I thought, wait, so you're actually saying, I took ladies' underwear and put it in the laundry. It's not an expression for anything else. It really means literally. And he said, yeah, I've been having reports of, I don't know, green and purple. Do you want to explain about that? And I realized, well, okay, yeah, true. Well, that's the color of my underwear. And he said, well, I know this is awkward here, but do you wear briefs or boxers? All these odd things. And the thing that's happened is that there's a rule that we're not allowed to uh, do women's clothes, or women are not allowed to wash men's clothes in the laundry machines. Apparently, somebody somewhere had found me and written me up for doing that, which is quite awkward. And I don't know who it is. Finally, at the end, it took about 10 minutes. He had brought me out of the office. I sat down outside. He started talking with his superior and finally came back in and said, well, I'm aware that there's maybe some sort of national difference here or something of the sort, so I'd suggest get something at Walmart or something of the sort, but, for the major part, you're free to go. And, well, I mean, my underwear does come from Walmart, but that was a very interesting situation. Another very frustrating experience I had was this semester during what we call class meetings. Every Wednesday we have a different type of meeting. Sometimes it's a collegiate meeting, sometimes it's a typical normal meeting, sometimes we don't have any, and sometimes it's a class meeting, such as the different classes, juniors, seniors, sophomore, or freshman classes. I had gone to all the freshman class meetings last year, so year I automatically went to the Dale Horton Auditorium as usual, and it was a miserable day. I was sick. I was tired. I felt I just wanted to go through this and get credit for it. So I went inside the Dale Horton, sat down. I didn't find any friends. I felt bad. Then as the attendance cards were turned in, I gave in mine, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh no, what did I do? I noticed that my attendance card was the wrong color and I was attending the wrong meeting. And then I was thinking of it. I turned my cards in and I was like, what can I do now? And I felt flushed and everything. I was like, I'm in trouble. Then I understood, what if I just leave the Dale Horton Auditorium and go to the sophomore class meeting that's in the Crown Center? I will be late, but I should be fine. I should be able to show that I was there anyway. I'll write a 3x5 card. So I got up and went to leave the Dale Horton Auditorium. And just then an usher saw me. I actually knew the guy. And he said, "Hey, are you okay, bro? What's happening? You're sick or anything?" And I told him, "Well, I just noticed I'm attending the wrong meeting. I'm not a freshman. I'm a sophomore." So he said, "Oh, no, 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 don't leave. Stay here because they probably won't make a difference. And at worst, just explain to Student Life, and it shall be okay." So I said, "Okay, you sure? All right." So I went to sit down. He said, "Sit here, sit here." So I sat down and stayed there, waited for the whole meeting to end. Attended the whole thing, saw a retake of basically my freshman year. And what do I see in student cart? My status on Eagle's Nest the next week is 10 demerits. You were in the wrong class meeting. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll have to go to student court and contest that because I did attend, but there's something that happened, so they'll understand. I go to student court. Now, student court is supposed to be where they'll actually have mercy on us, but I understood that that was completely fake at that moment because When I went, I sat down and she told me, okay, so yeah, you didn't attend sophomore class meeting. I said, well, I did, except I wasn't allowed to because I was in the wrong meeting by mistake, and I explained my situation. She said, yes, but you were still absent from the sophomore class meeting. So I said, yeah, but I didn't know what to do. I was in a quandary there, and I had to decide to stay in the class meeting. But said, yeah, but you were still absent from the sophomore class meeting. However, do I obey the usher, or should I stay there and get demerits? Either way is not going to work. And I was answered, well, yes, you have to obey the usher's instructions, but you were also absent from the sophomore class meeting. And I'm thinking, what? What in the world? I attend there, I feel miserable. I do all the efforts I can to do what's right. I make a mistake, and student life still gives me demerits for it. And understood that student life um, is a good thing in many situations, but there has there are bad decisions that occur, and that was one of them. It made me very frustrated. I had another interesting moment when I was written up for wearing sneakers in class. When I went to student court, I told them that I actually don't wear sneakers unless I play soccer, and also I didn't have class at that time, and the person they told me wrote me up, I didn't know the name of. So I was told, well, an instructor doesn't need to know you to actually be able to write you up. I said, but I don't have class at that time. And I actually had to insist quite a bit to get that removed. This was probably a case of somebody giving the wrong ID number to be written up. Another interesting thing about PCC is that we may not go out with girls off campus unless they're 23 years or older, or unless we're on Christian service, because the college wants to prevent inappropriate physical contact and etc. It is allowed, however, if you have a chaperone. But basically, the list of chaperones is the list of teachers that teaches at PCC, which, to be honest, probably don't want to spend the weekend with you on a date somewhere else. And you probably don't want to pay for their restaurant bill. And you probably don't want to have them with you if you don't know them. The option you have is that you can count your parents as being automatic chaperones. So I'm actually having an exciting moment next week, or in a little more than a week. I'll be getting engaged with Kahari, and her parents are coming over. So we had the idea, well, why don't we have a date together? And with her parents, we'll go to the restaurant and we'll get engaged there at a park somewhere. So we sent this request into Student Life, and they denied it because supposedly the day is a day where we have a church meeting. However, that's the day we're leaving as well, so people that are leaving can't attend church, but we would have to. And that was just a system error that supposed that a Wednesday evening would have a service on that day, but it was actually not the case. So they could override it when we went to see Student Life. However, it does give you an idea of how complicated it can be sometimes. Apart from student outings, there are not many more options if you want to go out with your girlfriend except on campus.